In this video session, I am explaining about few concepts from J2EE and JDBC from Model 5 Subject Advanced Java and J2EE. Okay, next topic we are discussing about the ResultSet interface object. We already seen the first we need to load the driver, then we need to establish a connection, then we need to create and execute the query. Now we need to retrieve the data from the table. In order to retrieve the value from the table, we'll make use of an interface called ResultSet interface. The ResultSet interface consists of a record. Each record contains a set of columns. The ResultSet interface can be of certain types to determine some characteristics and ability of the result set. The different types of a result set interface are scrollable result set interface, updatable result set interface, inserting a value to the data table, and deleting a value from the table. These are the four different operations can be performed on the result set interface. Let us see about scrollable result set interface. The scrollable result set interface means we can perform operation on the table either in a forward direction or backward direction or jumping from one location to the another location. This is a scrollable result set interface. In order to perform a scrollable result set on a table, we are going to make use of three different constant fields of result set interface. These three constant fields of result set interface can be passed as an argument to the create statement method. The three different types of result set constant variables are type forward only, types called insensitive, types called sensitive. The type forward only, types called insensitive, types called sensitive are the constant fields of result set interface. This is as passed as an argument to the create statement method. If you not pass any argument to the create statement method, then the create statement method will take as a default constant field as a type forward only. What is a type forward only? The type forward only means that the result set can only be moved in a forward direction. That is, I can move from the 0th rows, first rows, second rows. We cannot move a cursor backwards to the table. In the table means the cursor can be moved only in the forward direction like iterator interface, and we cannot jump from one location to the another location. That is in backward locations. And when I pass the constant field as a types called insensitive, means the cursor can move in forward direction as well as in backward direction. Along with the cursor can jump from one location to the another location. The insensitive means if there are two threads which are performing an operation on the same result set or the same table, if one thread is performing an operation as an update table and another thread is performing an operation on to retrieve the table, then whatever the changes has been made by one thread to the result set interface object, that is never going to be get affected by the another thread. That is called as an insensitive, means the another thread will not get updated information about the table because of insensitive. The types called sensitive means that perform same operation as insensitive. It means the cursor can move in forward direction, backward direction, jump from one location to the another location. But difference is that if one thread is performing an operation that is manipulating the value to the result set interface, if another thread is greater than another result set and performing an operation as retrieving, so whatever the manipulation has been done to the table, that is going to be reflected to the another thread. That is what is called sensitive. So type forward only means the result set can move only in the forward direction. That is, you can only move from row 1 to row 2, row 2 to row 3, etc. We cannot move backward in the result set. Types called insensitive means the result set can be moved in either forward direction as well as backward direction. Also, it can jump from one location to then another location, from current position to the absolute position. The result set is insensitive to changes in the underlying data source while the result set is open. That is, if the record in the result set is changed in the database by another thread or a process, it will not reflected in already open result set of this type. It means is if one thread is performing an operation as manipulation, another thread is performing an operation was retrieving. Okay, with both the threads are open with a different result set interface. If it is a insensitive, means if you make any changes by one thread process, it is not going to be reflected to the another thread process. This is what we call types called insensitive. Types called sensitive types called sensitive means the result set can move in both forward direction as well as backward direction. We can also jump from one location to then another location, that is absolute position. The result set is sensitive to change the underlying data source when the result set is open. That is, if the record in the result set is changed in the database by another thread or a process, it will be reflected in already open result set of this type. It means that if the two threads are performing operation on the same table or a database, and if you made as insensitive, means if one thread is manipulating the data, if another thread is want to retrieve the data, whatever the manipulation has been done by the one thread process, it is going to be reflected to the another thread process because of types called sensitive. That is the difference between insensitive and sensitive. In insensitive, whatever the changes has made by the one thread process, it is not going to be get affected to the another thread process. Sensitive means whatever the changes has been done by one thread process to their database, it is going to be get reflected to the another thread process. These are the three different types of a constant field of result set which has been passed as an argument to the create statement method. Different methods which are available in the result set interface are absolute method. The absolute is a method where the cursor can move from one location to the another location by passing as a value to the parameter to the absolute method. The moves the result set to the point to the absolute position. Position is nothing but we are going to pass as a parameter to the absolute method. The position is a row number passed as a parameter to the absolute method. For example, I am passing then a row number as 2 to the absolute method. So your cursor will be moved to the second row of the table. Now whatever the values are there in a second row of the table, those values are going to be get retrieved out. And similarly, I can jump from one location to the another location. Now cursor is in second position. Now I want to retrieve the sixth row. Then I will pass the argument as 6 to the absolute method. Now cursor is pointing to the sixth row of the table. I am going to retrieve it. Next method is after last. The after last is a method. It's move the result set to point to the after the last row in the result set. After the last row means the last row of the after the last row means last row of the table before the first row. Next method is before first, is move the result set to point to before the first row in the result set table. The first is a method. The first method moves the result set to point to the first row in the result set. Now assume that here absolute is in 6th position, cursor is in the 6th position. Now I want to move cursor to the first position. In that case, I will make use of a method called first. When I invoke the method first, the cursor will be pointing to the first row. Similarly, I will make use of a last method. The last is a method which moves the result set to point to the last row in the result set. Now cursor is in the first row. I want to move to the last row of the table. Then I will make use of a method called last method. So the cursor will pointing to the last row of the table. Next method is next. The next is a method which is always going to point to the first row of the table and it's point to the next row in the result set. Suppose I invoke the first method, the cursor in the first row. Now I want to retrieve the second row. In that case, I will make as a next method. When I invoke the next method, means it is pointing to the second row. Then previous is a method. It's move the result set to point to the previous row in the result set. Now the row is in the second Assume that the cursor is pointing to the second row. I want to move to the previous row. Then I will make use of a method called previous method. When I execute the previous method, the cursor will move from current position to the previous row. Relative method. So this method can move cursor from either in forward direction as well as backward direction. It jumps from one location to the another location. When you want to move in a forward direction, I will pass in a positive value as an argument to the relative method. When I want to move in a backward direction, I will pass as a negative value to the relative method. The relative method moves the result set to point to the position relative to its current position. The relative position is passed as a parameter to the relative method and can be both positive and negative. If it is passed as a positive, the cursor moves in a positive forward direction. If you pass as a negative value, the cursor moves in negative direction. Now assume that the cursor is in second position. Now I want to go for a fourth position, fourth row. So I will specify 2 as an argument to the relative method. Now when I pass an argument 2 to the relative method, the cursor will be pointing to the fourth row. Now whatever the values are in the fourth row, I am going to fetch it. Now I want to move cursor one step. I want to move the cursor to the third row. Okay, then I will make use of a relative method. I will say -1. When I say -1, okay, it will move the cursor from current position to backward one position because I passed as a -1. This is how the different methods which are being used to perform operation on the table by making use of a result set interface object. This is a simple example which is used to perform operation on a result set interface object method. So first we have loaded the driver. So next we have established the connection, and here we are making use of a constant field of the result set is types called sensitive. You know, when we make a types called sensitive means if one thread is making any manipulation, that is going to be get reflected to the another thread. Okay, this has been passed as an argument to the create statement method. So create statement is a method which is belonging to the connection interface. So with the help of a connection interface object, I am going to invoke the method called create statement, and the return value will be assigned to the statement interface. Now we have created the statement of type called sensitive. Then I am executing the query, that is select star from employee. So the execute query is a method belonging to the statement interface, and the return value will be assigned to the result set method. Okay, this is the process of retrieving the value from the table. Now I want to execute different methods which are available in the result set interface. Now the first method. The first is a method which is going to always point to the first row of the table employee. Okay, it is going to point to the first row of the table employee. Now I want to retrieve the name. Okay, the name is an first attribute in the table. So I will make use of an get string, and I am passing the column index as an 1, so that I will get an first row name, the person name. The next I am executing the last row. So last is a method which is going to point to the last row of the employee table. Okay, now cursor is currently in the last row of the table, so I am printing the name. Next I want to move cursor one step backward. Okay, then I will make use of an previous method. So here I am performing operation both forward direction as well as backward direction because we have passed as a constant field as types called sensitive. So when I give a previous, the current position of the cursor is last row. From that it is moved to one step backward. So last but one row has been pointed out, and the name of the last but one row person has been fetched out. Next I want to fetch the second row of the table. Then I will pass absolute the column index. When I pass a column index 2, okay, then cursor is going to jump to the second index position. So now cursor is in second index position. I am going to retrieve the name of that second person. Then I want to move the cursor in forward direction. So I will make as in relative position. Now relative of 2 means forward direction. Now cursor is in the second row. I want to fetch the fourth row of the student employee information. Then I will make use of a relative plus 2 means it is moved to the fourth position. From current position to the number of position to be moved. Okay, 2 position to be moved. Then the cursor is pointing to the fourth row. So I will get a fourth row of the person name. Then I want to move 2 steps backward from the current position. Now current position of the table was in fourth row. I want to move back to the second row. So I will specify -2. When I specify -2, the cursor will be moved backward direction. From fourth position, it will move to the second position, that is second row of the table. Again, I am going to fetch the name of the table. This is how the different methods of result sets are being used, both forward direction and backward direction. The relative is a method which is going to work both forward as a backward direction. The previous is a method which is going to work backward direction. The absolute is a method which is going to work forward direction. The first is and the last is a method which is going to work forward direction. This is a simple example for types called sensitive as a constant field passed as an argument to the create statement method, and this is an example of result set interface object for scrollable result set. Now in this slide we are discussing about another type of the operation can be performed on the result set interface. Okay, first one we have seen that scrollable result set interface. Next one is the updatable result set interface. So updatable result set interface says that what type of the operation we can want to perform on the result set interface object. Either I want to perform operation as an update operation, or I want to perform only operation as read operation from the table. Just I can retrieve the value from the table. I cannot make any manipulation, or you want to perform manipulation to the table. Then in order to do this operation, there are two different constant fields of the result set are concurrent read only and concurrent update only. When I pass concurrent read only as a constant field of the result set, then it is going to give only permission to read the values. We cannot make any update to the table. When I pass argument as a constant field concurrent updatable of result set, then it gives permission to read as well as update the result set. Once we pass this as a constant field, if the result set is updatable, okay, if the result set is updatable, then we can update the columns of each row in the result set by making use of a method called update x method, where x is going to specify the type of the attribute. Once the values has been replaced out, okay, then I am going to call a method called update row method. The update row is a method which is belonging to the result set interface, which is going to update the row in the table. This is an about updatable result set interface. Okay, this is a simple program. I want to update the name of the USN, the name of the particular USN 2. Usually we will write SQL query as update table employee set name is equal to Avinash and where USN is equal to 2. This is normal SQL query. Now without using SQL query, I want to perform update operation. Okay, in order to do this, we will make use of an updatable result set interface. Let us see how it is going to work. So first we have loaded the driver, then we have established the connection, then we are making a manipulation to the table. So we have passed as a constant field concurrent updatable to the create statement method. It says that we are getting the permission to update a value to the table because of concurrent updatable result set. Now I am specifying, I am executing the query that select star from employee where USN is equal to 2. Now I want to update the name of the person USN 2. That query has been passed and the query has been executed. Now the update is a method. Okay, here x nothing but string. Okay, the attribute of the name is an varchar, so we need to represent as update string, and this is a column index, and the what value you want to update it. So assume that initially it was Akash with a particular USN 2. Now I want to replace that Akash with an Avinash. Okay, then I will pass that value as an Avinash. This value is going to replace with an old value of USN at the USN 2. Once the value has been initialized, next we need to update that particular row. In order to update that particular row, we will make use of a method called update row. So update row is a method which is belonging to the result set. As soon as I execute then update row method, okay, the whatever the values which have been assigned to then update x method is going to be get updated to the table employee where USN is 2. Okay, this query is performed. This operation is similar to update employee set name is equal to Avinash where USN is equal to 2. This is a simple program for performing updatable ResultSet interface. Okay, next we are performing operation as inserting a row into ResultSet. Means it says that I want to insert a value to the table. We already know in order to insert a value to the table, we'll write a query as insert into employee table values name and employee ID. This is an query how we are going to make use to insert a value to the table. Now instead of using an insert query, still I want to perform an insertion operation to the result set, to the insertion operation to the table. In order to this, we'll make use of a ResultSet interface method. So in the previous slide we have seen that the ResultSet make use of an updatable ResultSet or concurrent read only or concurrent update only. When you performing an insert operation to the table, then to the create statement method we need to pass constant field as concurrent updatable. Okay, when I pass constant as a concurrent update only updatable. So if the result set is updatable, it is also possible to insert row into it. Okay, in order to insert a value to the table, we'll make use of a method called as an update x method. So update x is a method which is going to initialize a value to the table, where x is going to specify the type of the attribute. Assume that in a table there have two attributes, one is name, another is employee ID. Another is employee ID. So name is an index 1 and employee ID is an index 2. I want to insert value name as ABC A and ID is 1. Value as name is B and the value ID is 2. The both of type is varchar. Both data type is varchar. We are created in the table called employee. Now I want to insert the name A and ID to the ID 1 to the table employee. Then I will make use of an update method. So I will write update method, and I will replace this x by the type of the attribute is varchar. So I will replace this x by string. Okay, then I want to insert the name. The insert name is in column index is 1. So I will specify the column index 1. Then what the value I want to insert? I want to insert the value as A. I will specify A. Then once again I will write update that I want to insert a ID. ID is also varchar, so I will write update string. Then I will pass the second index 2, then value as 1. Once this value has been finalized to the method up to the update x method, then I will call a method called insert row. The insert row is a method which is belonging to the interface called ResultSet interface. As soon as I execute the insert row, whatever the value has been assigned to the update x method, those values are being stored into the table, that is A and 1. This is how the ResultSet updatable method is performed in order to insert the value instead of using the insert query. Similarly, I can also delete a row from the ResultSet. We know that whenever I want to delete a value from the table, we'll say that delete from table where evaluation is equal to something. Okay, instead of writing the complete query, still I want to delete a row from the table, means I will make use of a method called as a delete row method. The delete row is a method which is used to delete the row from the database. The delete row method pass as an integer argument which specifies the row to be deleted. So which row you want to delete, you specify that row index number, the corresponding row is going to be get deleted. Suppose I want to delete the row as an 0. The row 0 value is name is A and 1. So I want to delete the information about the index row value 0. Then I will pass as an index value as 0 to the delete row method. When I pass an index value 0 to the delete row method, the 0th rows will be deleted from the table employee. This is how we are going to deleting the value from the table. Okay, this is an example for inserting a row into ResultSet without using an insert query. When you are going to perform an inserting an operation to the table, so the create statement should hold the concurrent updatable as a constant field. So first we are loading the driver by making use of an for name method, and next we are establishing the connection by making use of a get connection method. Now when you are going to perform any manipulation operation, then we need to make use of a concurrent updatable constant field to the create statement method. So with the help of a create statement method, we are making use of a constant field as a concurrent updatable only, and the return value will be assigned to the statement interface. Now we are executing the query, select star from employee. Now to this employee table, I want to insert new name as an Avinash to the table employee. So to insert a new name Avinash to the employee table, we'll make use of a query state method called update string, because the name is an attribute type is varchar. So update string, and we'll pass the column index of the name, that is column index of the name in the table is 1, and what the value I want to insert. I want to insert the value as Avinash to the table. So I will initialize the value to the method called update string method. This update x is a method belonging to the ResultSet interface. Once I initialize the value, I want to insert that value to the table. So to insert that value to the table, we'll make use of a method called insert row. The insert row is a method which is going to insert the initialization value done by the update method to the table employee. The insert row is going to insert a values to the table which has been initialized with the help of an update method. This Avinash value has been inserted to the table. Then this is then processing the data from the table. Now this is an example for deleting a row from result set. Now I want to delete a row from the table. So for that we'll write a normal SQL query to delete a row from the table. Instead of writing the SQL query, still I want to delete a row from the table, means we'll make use of a method which are available in a ResultSet interface object. Again, when you performing a manipulation operation, means we need to make use of a constant field called as a concurrent updatable only. So concurrent updatable only is being used when you are going to perform operation manipulation to the table. So we have loaded the driver, we have established the connection, then we have created the statement of type concurrent updatable only, then we are executing the query, the employee table. From this employee table, I want to delete the first row. Okay, then we need to specify the row index. The row index is always start from 0 to so on. The column index will be always start from 1 to so on. So I want to delete the first row. First row is nothing but first row of the table is nothing but the index value of the row is 0. Then with the help of a delete row method, the delete row is a method which is belonging to the ResultSet interface. It takes the one argument, that is row index. Whatever the row index has been passed to the delete row method, the corresponding row is going to be get deleted out. Now here I pass the row index as 0. It means the first row is going to be deleted from the table employee. Once the row has been deleted out from the table, the remaining rows are been left out. In order to process it, we are making use of processing the data from the table. This is an example for deleting the row from the result set without using a delete query.
These are the reference which have been referred in the entire slide. The textbook is Albert Stead Java, the complete reference 7th edition, Tata McGrail and Zinpog, and reference book are Daniel Lang, Stephens and Uttam K. Roy. These are the textbook which are going to be referred.